Over the past year, ICE has been a big talking point, and it's making everyone question the future of America's immigration policy. One thing that's barely touched on in the news, however, is how Native American corporations were awarded over 8% of all ICE contracts in 2025. Indigenous people are playing a significant part in immigration enforcement, like designing detention centers and providing security guards. This video is going to break down which tribes are involved with ICE, what contracts they've received, and ask the bigger question: do tribal members really have a choice when most of their facilities and programs rely on federal contract revenue? Hi everyone, my name is Olivia Gum, and I'm an investigative journalist who publishes the Federal Contracting Snapshot. Over the past 2 months, I've uncovered 2 major ICE contracts with tribally owned companies. In November, I found that Kansas's Prairie Band's Potawatomi Nation was awarded $30 million to design ICE megacenters. By sharing this with local news stations, it gained public attention, and now leadership is in the process of terminating the contract. Likewise, I found only last week that Wisconsin's Oneida Nation was awarded $6.3 million to conduct facility inspections at a detention center in El Paso, Texas. But that's not all. Alaska Native corporations have been under fire since last spring for performing security guard operations, notably Nana and Bering Straits. But through my research, there are multiple tribally owned companies holding ICE contracts that have no news coverage. This includes Alaska's Bristol Bay, California's Yurok tribe, Alabama's Porch Band of Creek Indians, and New York's Seneca Nation. Some of these contracts are under $1 million, but the principal and moral dilemma still remains. As Prairie Band's chairman Joseph Rupnick said, "We know our Indian reservations were the government's first attempts at detention centers, so we must ask ourselves why we would ever participate in something that mirrors the harm and trauma once done to our people." I think the main problem revolves around how Native corporations function under SBA's 8A program. This guarantees sole source awards without competition, encourages multiple subsidiaries under the 8A program, and allows Native corporations to subcontract most of the work to non-Native companies located anywhere in the country. Weirdly enough, SBA is in the process of revising the 8A program, requiring all 4,000 participants to submit 3 years of business records by January 9th of 2026. Why the standards are just now changing and why those records weren't required before is questionable. Now I want to briefly showcase the data visualization I made. Find the link to look through it yourself in the comments. The size of the bubbles represent how much was obligated, with Nana, Bering Straits, and Prairie Band earning the most under ICE. The darker blue border represents an Alaska Native corporation, and the lighter blue borders represents another state. When you click on any of the companies, the pop-up details the subsidiary name, the contract description, and how much was obligated in 2025. Keep in mind that the amount spent now is different from the contract ceiling, which is how much can be obligated through the duration of the contract. For example, Bering Straits has only received $250 for a contract ceiling of $134 million. On top of that visualization, I've put together tables of all Alaskan ANC subsidiaries I found. You can switch between the regional corporation tabs to see village subsidiaries. Tribal members should continue tracking each of these companies in 2026. Lastly, I want to praise Prairie Band for demanding accountability and keeping the pressure on to end the $30 million contract. The leadership and board of all of these Native corporations should be held to high scrutiny. For instance, I was appalled last week when Oneida Nation CEO Jeff House defended their ICE contract by saying,
House saying while he doesn't agree with ICE practices and the work wasn't for actually building facilities, he thought entering the contract was a humanitarian thing to do.
This was more inspection and making sure these facilities are up to speed and meet the code, and it was about the people who are going to be in those facilities.
As I see it, tribally owned companies have a better chance of their voice being heard than most publicly traded corporations. If transparency can't be achieved here on the local level with government transactions, I don't see how we can prevent bigger corruption elsewhere.